With Nigeria now among the top nations most impacted by the coronavirus on the continent, Lagos has continued to show optimism that the disease is not a death sentence. As more patients are being discharged, more isolation centers are also being constructed in the quest to contain this public health crisis. You're welcome to Inside Lagos. I'm Adedoja. Salam Adeniyi.
Ẹni tí ò dé kò yìn ẹkùn kan. Àwa ni center of excellence. Ẹni ò dé kò yìn ẹkùn kan. Àwa ni center of excellence. Mo ní pé bó o bá dé kò yìn ẹkùn kan. Àwa ni center of excellence. Àwọn òyìnbó débẹ̀ wọ́n rí tá a jẹ́ ṣe. Àwa ni center of excellence. Haúsá débẹ̀ wọ́n rí tá a jẹ́ ṣe. Àwa ni center of excellence. Àwọn Ìgbò débẹ̀ wọ́n rí tá a jẹ́ ṣe. Àwa ni center of excellence. Gbogbo Yorùbá débẹ̀ wọ́n rí tí wọ́n mú lọ. Àwa ni center of excellence. Ẹni òde kò yìn ẹkùn kan. Èkó ò ní bàjẹ́ lórí àwa. Àwa ni center of excellence. Ọ̀pọ̀ ò bá dé kò yìn ẹkùn kan.
The controlled easing of lockdown in Lagos is gradually bringing back the trademark of hustle and bustle the city is known for. But one development that stands out is a fair level of compliance to the use of face masks at major motor parks. Have a listen.
Lagos is gradually coming alive after experiencing a 5-week lockdown. Since it's the first working day of the week, the roads are busy despite the ban on interstate travel. A common picture, workers are stranded at BRT terminal in Berger. Security checks at the Lagos-Ogun border have doubled. While we didn't see so much activity at checkpoints in Berger, the story is different elsewhere. For most of the commuters we spoke with, the ease of the lockdown is a good development, but there are fears that precautionary guidelines may be breached.
To an extent, I'm happy because at least people can still go around, do their day-to-day activities. But if we all can just comply.
Oh God, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. It's been very terrible. Although I can understand government position, the frustrations, feeling, survival of people is very paramount.
I dey fear coronavirus. I dey fear coronavirus.
We are just managed. We don't have a choice. There's nothing we can do to it now. We have to follow the rules and regulations so that we will not be. God will save all of us.
The directive by the Lagos State government on how public transportation should be handled is clear, and transporters are making efforts to comply. Overloading is not allowed at parks, and the National Union of Road Transport Workers says it will deploy task force to sanction erring members. Any passenger or transporter who is found not complying with directives will be asked to do so immediately or to disembark.
Lagos State Chairman NURTW, Alhaji Mr. Akinsanya, has set up a task force unit that makes him himself is the chairman of the unit. It's been classified into 3 groups, into secretarial 3 groups, which by tomorrow there's going to be a broadcast whereby if any driver or any union member violated these rules or this guideline, the number that can be called is going to roll out as from tomorrow. And as from tomorrow, there will be a task force team that will be parading to enforce and monitor and also arrest the people that go against the rule and the directives of Lagos State government.
Everywhere is so blocked, and it's because of this lockdown. So I think what the government needs to do more is to allow other commuters, as in like other means of transportation.
Lagos State government has predicted that the number of cases of COVID-19 may hover between 90,000 and 120,000 in July and August. Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, disclosed this at another press briefing at Alausa. He attributed the increase in cases being recorded to decentralization of sample collection to the 20 local government areas in the state.
Every passing day, residents of Lagos wait with bated breath for the NCDC to release the number of cases in the country. Lagos has remained the epicenter of coronavirus, with the number now over the 1,000 mark and the deaths more than 30.
To deal with this situation,
the Commissioner for Health wants residents to brace up, as the number of infections will hover between 90,000 and 120,000 in July and August. He attributed the increase in cases being recorded to the decentralization of sample collection to the 20 local government areas.
how many persons are we likely to see? Well, there's a difference between what the model says in terms of how many people are going to be infected and what our capacity to identify positive people is. So our model suggests that by July, we're going to see somewhere between 90 to 120,000 positive cases. However, our testing algorithm only tests for people who have developed symptoms.
Professor Akin Abayomi stated that the state is ramping up testing capacity and now produces kits to reach large number of people in a bid to flatten the curve. He says the state is using data to plan increased surveillance and isolation capacity and believes this will help tackle infections quickly.
In the last 1 month, you can see the increase in numbers of tests that we can perform on a day-to-day basis. We are now testing out of 4 sites: Yaba, IDH, the Luth Laboratory, NIMA, and a private laboratory testing facility called 54G. So we have a dramatically increased capacity to test, and as soon as we gain access to the amount of testing reagents, which we are working very hard on, and in fact we've started to manufacture some of those reagents, especially the sample collection kits. We've started to manufacture them in Lagos to ease the strain and the bottlenecks that we're finding in our testing capacity.
First, I would like to thank Lagosians who have been very vigilant in this matter. We've gotten calls, we've gotten SMS coming in from our people telling us how people have been coming in. The simple answer to this is just to tell you that we are returning them. They are going back to wherever they're coming from. We have strengthened the security at the boundaries. If you watch now, if any of you goes around that place, you will see that there are members of the neighborhood watch there. They were not there before to join the security agents who are there. But we have members of the neighborhood watch there now who are keeping an eye on what is going on there. So the simple answer to it, as I've said, is that whoever has come into Lagos at this time, when there is a general rule that people should not come in, we are returning the person. That is it. And talking about social distancing, well, the simple thing that we have to do is that we will keep on stepping up our advocacy and telling our people how vital it is to keep social distancing at this time. People have called us to say that some people are hard of hearing, we should bring in soldiers, we should send dogs after people where you have crowds and all of that. But the governor made it clear the last time when he addressed us that he is going to tell the security agencies to respect the fundamental rights of our people, the dignity of our people. So we are not going to send in dogs, we are not going to send in soldiers to start beating people with koboko. What we will do is to simply step up our advocacy and be telling our people what the gains of social distancing are in fighting this pandemic that all of us are confronted with.
The state now has 4 test centers and it's planning on building another isolation center in Alimosho, and the Commissioner of Health says the strategies are working and residents should obey the directives of physical distancing and maintain proper hygiene.
Another lockdown in Lagos is looming and can only be averted if residents become responsible and comply with COVID-19 containment guidelines issued by the Lagos State government. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu said this during his 11th briefing at the State House, Marina. We were there.
Very important for very prompt.
This briefing is coming exactly 6 days into the new phase of the gradual easing of lockdown in the state. The incident commander and his team are here again to give assessment of their efforts to keep the spread of the ravaging virus in check, and the experience is not too palatable.
We're indeed glad that our manufacturing and construction companies have gradually, easily come back into operation. We're happy to see the level of compliance from this sector, as well as the beneficial impact to the limited resumptions that it has given and our economy even in these last 6 days. In the case of our Interstate commuting, meaning our movement on the BRT lanes and the Lagos bus service and our water transportation service, we've also seen some significant compliance in the carriage policy, where we restricted them to 60% of the maximum capacity. And I will imagine that they have significantly also complied. In terms of the open market and stores, our directive was that the food markets must open only on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, while other markets that are dealing with non-food items should open on Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. We have seen some fairly gradual compliance in this regard, as well as a maintenance of physical distancing and use of face masks in some cases. We're not out of it yet, and we're not fully happy with what we've seen. But this is a review that we're just coming up in the last 6 days. However, I must thank the leadership of our various markets, because we actually even see a lot more compliance relatively in our food markets. And so I want to commend and thank the leadership of our various market associations, especially the food market led by Yaloja General, for the level of compliance that we've seen. There are still some areas in which improvements need to be made, but I expect that we will achieve this in the coming days. Our monitoring team as a state and a local government will ensure near 100% compliance. That's the mandate we've given to them. It has to be as close to 100% as possible. In terms of non-compliance, the list is regrettably also long. On the first day of the ease of lockdown, we saw the very reckless movement in our transportation system, especially the yellow buses, and we also saw a huge surge around our financial houses. That was actually very regrettable. I imagine it was because of the pressure of that day. But however, we have seen some very productive and very proactive reaction, especially from some of the financial institutions, and I want to thank them for that. Some have come up with more branch opening. I have had to call some of them personally and directly for them to relax and open a lot more branches in Lagos so that people can access their services. And I kept explaining to them that there's a need for you to ensure that all your online banking services are live and are working, so that people have alternative means of engaging and accessing your services. I must say that a lot of them are working with us and they are helping us to achieve some of those lines, but some still need to do a lot more. On the yellow buses, I imagine that they scored below performance, they scored below average, and we're working with them. We're certainly not happy with the level of compliance we've seen with them, but we're hoping that in the few days ahead, we will see significant improvement and compliance. Many commercial motorcycles openly and indiscriminately still defer the suspension. I have therefore given strict directive to the police to confiscate Okada riders who have been told to go on suspension for now, who are not complying with this directive. I have given instruction to the Nigerian police to confiscate all of these riders who are not given strict adherence to this restriction.
The governor urged residents to take the projection of the state's data modeling, estimating that by July, Lagos may have as many as 120,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19 as a warning.
As a government and elected to uphold the security of its citizens, which includes the health security, by the way, let me make it clear that we will not hesitate to review the terms of this easing if we do not see an improvement in the next couple of days. I want to re-emphasize that if we not see an improvement in the next couple of days, we will be forced to revoke again the very, very painful decisions of bringing the entire system under lockdown again. I'm aware that the Presidential Task Force has also made this point, and very, very importantly, that the continued maintenance of this ease is only guaranteed when people consistently comply. Let the numbers we have seen this week stand as a warning for all of us, because we are monitoring and will be checking this on a daily basis.
Governor Sanwo-Olu also frowned at the ban on interstate travel except for essential goods and services that was also flouted.
The ban on interstate travel except for essential goods and services also saw consistent flouting. In many cases, we've seen people using leg to complete the last part of their journey, especially around the long bridge on Lagos-Ibadan Express Road. And so directives have been given to all our security operatives to turn back people that are using or practicing this act, because we've noticed that they are now using it as an act in which they will go and meet their vehicles in front, but they do not have any need or any reason to be in the state in the first place. So we're turning back both the pedestrian people and also the vehicles that are non-essential vehicles back to where they're coming from, and to ensure that they are not allowed into Lagos. Trucks and other vehicles carrying designated essentials will continue to be given access into the state, but we must emphasize that any truck that we see that is bringing more than 7 people that were instructed. We've seen instances even on the media and in some other states where people are hiding with the pretense of coming with food items or animal produce. It is not acceptable. Such vehicles will be turned back and they will not be given access into the state.
We've seen the increase in herbal medications in Lagos State and probably in Nigeria as a whole. Most people are resorting to indiscriminate usage of herbal medications, and some of them are using it to treat symptoms, really. We would like to know what Lagos State is doing in this direction, because it is a danger that they may end up increasing the community transmission of COVID-19 without knowing. So is the state looking towards a herbal medication solution or coming out to give advice for the users? Then my second question, which is the final question, is that I know that the health ministry gobbed 33 billion naira out of 1.168 trillion naira of 2020 budget. I want to know, we were told that you are going to increase it by 18%. Has that been done?
I know that we're currently conducting trial medicine, which includes the hydrochloride treatment, which could include herbal treatment. I've also heard that people...
There are food supplements which are recommended that may improve your immunity. And these food supplements are natural things that we normally consume. And some herbalists or alternative practitioners would advise that you increase your diet or you supplement your diet with certain food supplements. However, that's different from herbal concoctions. Herbal concoctions need to be subject to the same clinical trials as we subject drugs, because every concoction, we're not sure what the component is, whether it has some elements that may be toxic to you. So in the event of you trying to treat the COVID-19, you may find some toxicity within the concoction. So it's very important that we practice evidence-based medicine and that we're not permitting situations where Lagosians are subject to ad hoc therapies that have not been proven, which may cause additional problems. It's also very difficult to standardize the doses of herbal concoctions, and we have a traditional medicine board and a traditional medicine research committee, and they're part of our research agenda, and we have tasked them to be able to standardize herbal concoctions and to submit those concoctions to the research committee for consideration within our clinical trial range of activities.
That let us push an hashtag called Take Responsibility. Let's let this hashtag begin to reverberate in all our social media, and so that people will know that these are very difficult times, and as a government we will do our part, but each and every one of us have a role and a part to play.
As Nigeria battles with community transmission stage of the infection, Lagos is scaling up its testing capacity. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu also said that Lagos State has paid for more than 20,000 extraction kits and has placed an order for another 20,000 in its bid to test at least 120,000 in the next 60 days.
That's the package on this edition of Inside Lagos. Many thanks for being a part of it. Remember, COVID-19 is not a death sentence, and a recovery patient cannot spread the disease, so do not stigmatize. Report your symptoms to your state hotlines early. Above all, take responsibility. And that's the package. Many thanks for being there. See you next time. Bye-bye.